Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Real Wealth, your investing channel to help you make more money, help you keep more money, and then help you use that money to enjoy more life. What's up, Mikey? Welcome back.
Back for another week here. Once again, we have a lot to go over, and this week it's kind of a mix of good stuff and a little bit of bad stuff. So we're gonna kind of go over everything for everybody and keep everyone up to speed.
Yeah. It's hard to pack all this into a little short episode. We say we want to keep it to, a little small amount of time, but it's hard to get it all packed in. So, yeah, we're going to chat about, like we do every week, we're going to pop into just market updates, what's going on, national debt, inflation data came out this past week, uh, interest rates, stocks, cryptos, Bitcoin, Microstrategy, Solana. Trump's getting a little vocal around cryptos as well. And then we're going to pop into some Tesla news as well and why that's weaker lately. So I'm going to start out. We're going to pop into cryptos real quick. Give me a quick sec and we'll go through the little market recap here. Share screen. Okay, so another just wild week. So this is cryptos over the last week. Some red, some green, some extra red. So it looks like Bitcoin was pretty flat on the week. Ethereum actually down on the week. But just keep in mind, these last couple of weeks have had major run-ups. Like how much, Mike? You just like estimate like
Well, I mean,
let's
I
just
remember last week we were showing people that from like 50, 55 days ago until recently, we went up 91% for Bitcoin. So for
which is
us to
massive.
be
Yeah.
upset now that it's going to dip, I mean, you can't really be mad about that. It went up so much.
And look, is that really a dip? 1 week, 0.19%. And we made it all the way up to what, 70 something, right? What would we get to? 72-ish?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's now more than that. I don't know how they're figuring out the percentages, but we went from 73K to 68. So that's more than what they're listing there, but it's still not that bad.
Yeah, oh, this is 7 day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So maybe 7 days ago it wasn't 73K, but we
yeah,
were at 73 and we went to 68. So
yeah,
it's more meaningful than what they're showing, but it's
yeah,
still not that bad. It's a single digit percentage.
exactly. Yeah. So Solana, big green. I'm happy. AVAX, big green. I think we're both in that one as well. I know you own Near Protocol. So there's a couple of these that we're going to talk about and why certain ones run over others. Stocks, green, red, Microsoft up, Google up, Tesla down, big in relation to a lot of other ones, Nvidia flat. And you're going to chat a little bit more about these. Fear and greed index 81. So we've seen this higher, we've seen this lower. Same like we mentioned last week. This can hang around in the extreme greed for a while, especially during bear markets. And then one of our favorite resources that we use here, this one's called Banter Bubbles. So again, just gives a quick snapshot of what's moving. And this really helps us with narratives. So when I look at this, I see Jupe up 80%. I see Pith up 51%, Solana. So these are all in the Solana ecosystem. So when Solana runs, the ones within that ecosystem will run more. MSOL, I don't know that one.
And these
Some of
numbers are
the
for the week, folks. These are gains over the past week.
yeah. And up here, you're able to change the filter if you want to daily, monthly, and then you can actually change it to ecosystem. So the AI narrative ran pretty heavy the previous week, and you're starting to see a little bit of pullback in like Akash Networks and a couple other ones here. Some of the gaming ones have pulled back. So again, it's all narrative play. Memes were super hot, like 5 days ago, up hundreds and hundreds of percent. But some of that has pulled back. Some gaming ones, Gala Games. Uh, yeah, so that's cryptos over the last week, various narratives. Another thing we're starting to track, and we've added this to our weekly recap as well, is the altcoin season. And we're going to share more about this over the next couple of weeks. So things bounce around and there's different narratives. Bitcoin will run. And then when Bitcoin takes a breather, people take profits from Bitcoin and move it into other lower cap things. So we're not kind of officially in altcoin season based on this chart, but it sometimes feels like we are because of the crazy moves that things are doing. So yeah, we use multiple indicators to help us determine which coins that we want to be in. And, you know, it helps us on our entry strategy and our exit strategy. And then Mikey uses his technical analysis and he looks on the charts and which way are we trending and patterns. And it's wild stuff when you put it all together. So the more of these things that line up, the more probable things are to move. Again, no guarantees things can move, but the more of these little check marks that we're able to line up with these tools and indicators and technical analysis, the more likely it'll go in the direction we think it'll go. So far, it's worked pretty well. So, and we keep adding in more indicators that kind of help us with this. We're going to talk more about the Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin halving is coming up 41-ish days from now. So you've heard us talk in previous recaps about what Bitcoin did leading up to previous halvings and what happened after the halvings. And this time is a lot different in a good way if you own crypto, because it's already done a massive run up and we have a massive catalyst coming in 41 days. So that's that. Let me just stop sharing my screen here. So that's kind of the overview of what's going on with crypto stocks. Now, Mikey's going to hop on here and share a little bit around what's going in the macro environment around debt, inflation, because all this stuff is super important with markets. They all have an impact on things. So what's going on with the debt, Mikey? It's gone up a little bit over the last little bit, huh?
Same old story. So, you know, we've been talking about this for a long time, and I've been talking about this for years. And I just constantly remind people that this is something to be aware of. And
Yeah.
sometimes people, you know, maybe you don't think about how high your credit card balance is going. You just, you know, spend on the credit card, and that's what the government's doing. And the credit card balance keeps going higher, and they don't care. They're not paying it down. It just goes higher, and there's no limit to their credit card. It's an
Yeah.
unlimited credit card balance. So, um, you know, when we look at that, it really does matter because although inflation might be down, debt devaluation is up. And that's something I've been talking about with our audience here for a long time. So it's not just inflation that makes things more expensive, it's also dollar devaluation. And raising your debt is a big part of that. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here. We're going to show some interesting stuff here. So when we were looking at, you know, on my Facebook this week, and if you're watching the news and everything, we were waiting to see what the inflation report was going to be this week. And if you use TradingView, even on Friday last week, if you checked your chart, you saw these little warning indicators saying that there would be some important inflation data coming this week.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening, I mean, it's not really a big surprise because inflation was rising last month as well, but consumer prices rose more than expected in February. So it doesn't mean that, you know, we're going to have 9% inflation again or anything like that. But what it means is imagine you were on a diet and you were losing a bunch of weight, and then all of a sudden you gain 5 pounds back or 10 pounds back after you just lost 50 pounds. Well, you're not gaining 50 pounds back, but you're up 5 or 10 pounds. It's still something to be aware of. And so inflation is rising again, and that's now 2 or 3 months in a row. And a lot of people might be thinking, how the heck is this happening? Like the rates are so high. You go to the store, you get less cheese and less meat per package, and everything's expensive still, but they're saying inflation's down. Now inflation's up a little. How do you kind of make sense of all this? And, you know, when we went through the week here again, you'll see wholesale inflation rose 0.6% in February, more than expected. They're showing you pictures of grocery stores. In Canada, I've seen people posting on Facebook about this. You know, you have a package of cheese, right? You get your cheddar cheese or something, and now there's less cheese in the same package. So you have these extra like flaps of air on the end of your cheese now. They're giving you some shrinkflation, and we're continuing to see this happen, even though the government tells us they're beating inflation. So it's kind of a weird phenomenon that's going on. And you'll see that it affected the markets. The S&P was lower this week on inflation worries. And, it's not really dropping that much, right? We've gone up so much in the past couple of months here, Mike. The
Yeah.
Nvidia rally and the market rally has been insane, but it started dropping a little bit, right? So let's go check the chart quick.
Yeah. And before you hop in here, I also want to share, I heard some news the other day, just like how alarming the debt is and how crazy, like you said, there's no ceiling. They just have this unlimited ceiling where they can just add more money, add more debt. And I don't remember the exact figure, but it was in and around 70% of all the taxpayer revenue that comes in actually goes towards paying debt, interest. So instead of it actually going to like education or medical, and I know in the US, like they have military, the majority of the taxpayer dollars coming in from revenue goes towards paying debt. And this debt
Yeah.
just keeps going up and up and up. So they're basically applying for another credit card to paying for another credit card. And it's just they're rolling the interest over. And the fact that interest rates are staying high longer means that the government has to pay more interest on the debt that they own that's already at record levels. So this is why one of the reasons why we're so bullish on Bitcoin and cryptos, because it's on the other end. Like there is a ceiling of coins, right? Like Bitcoin, what was it, 21
21
million,
million.
right? Which actually isn't that. It's actually lower because people have lost their coins and various things. But
Yeah.
uh, you just look at an interest a debt chart of what is owed in the US, and it's just like straight up like that. So just it's sad that all that taxpayer dollars goes towards the majority of just paying interest on the debt, when it would be kind of cool if that money went more towards healthcare and education. So anyways,
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're a high earner, but then you have a bunch of lines of credit and credit cards and all kinds of stuff you owe money on, you have no money left after. It's all just going to pay your
yeah.
interest and your debt,
And you get
right?
to a
So
point
that's
where how do they catch up? How do they catch up ever now when 70% of the money coming in is just going to debt and interest rates are higher and it's just constant going up? I don't know how they get out of that.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky. And I mean, I'll show you that chart
Well,
in
we
a
kind of
minute.
do.
So
Yeah.
the stock market, you can see it's dropped a little bit here, but it's not
Uh-huh.
really that much. I mean, you see that it's dropped like a little bit right here, but it went up so much
Yeah.
first. So it's barely dropped really.
Right. And these last
Um,
couple of weeks we've been at all-time highs, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And what's the
So
time frame of this chart? It looks like
this is
maybe
going
in
back to basically Christmas time.
Christmas.
And
Okay.
overall, though, I mean, like this is our bull trend right here, right? This is part of my technical analysis here. I
Yeah.
mean, we're still fully in the bull trend. So maybe we'll break below this. I will point this out too, guys. Look at that volume. We got a lot of volume that
Yeah.
just stepped into the downside here. That's the most red volume we've had probably since, I don't know, last summer. So I don't even see anything that tall on this chart. So not trying to be doom and gloom or anything here, but we'll probably fall a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's not great news. And again, again, inflation's rising. You go to the grocery store, it's costing you more. And my good buddy Peter Schiff here, who I have a love and hate relationship with. I
Yeah.
hate his short-term views, but I like his long-term views. He is a great economist for
Yeah. There
long-term
we go. Yeah.
macro stuff. So
Debt.
he pointed out this week, the national debt just surpassed 34.5 trillion. And when we were doing these videos a couple months ago, I was talking about how it hit 33 trillion. Now it's 34.5 trillion. Like these guys at the government, they just keep spending. And I wish I could buy a stock that represented the US debt. This is the most
Yeah,
bullish
good. I'm glad you
chart,
have this chart. Yeah.
right? This is the most bullish chart I've ever seen in my life. I wish I could buy call options on this. Like, like it just goes up. Look, you know how much money
Yeah.
I'd make if I could buy options on this? So, it only goes up. Like the last time I was showing how we went to 33 trillion over here, and now it's going up again over here. And I'm just like, oh my God, like it just keeps going up and there's no stopping.
Yeah, and let me just put
And
this into perspective for people. A trillion, that's a lot of zeros. A billion is a lot of zeros. So a trillion is 1,000 billion. So like when it goes up 1.5 trillion, it's like, whatever. Like that's not much in relation to whatever. Like there's 34 trillion. What's 1.5? But 1.5 trillion is a ton of money, especially when interest rates are high and you have to pay interest on that.
yeah, yeah. Now, another thing I want to point
So
out here too.
smart.
So this is the 80s and the 90s, and you'll notice there's a certain angle here it was going up on. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Then in the 2000s, it got sharper. Then after 2008, it got sharper. And now it's going up like crazy. It keeps going sharper and sharper and sharper to the upside. If you notice, it's kind of just curling upwards and becoming more exponential.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal because, maybe we were rising at like 5 or 10% or something every few years here. Then it became more aggressive. Then it became more aggressive. Now it's like we're going up 10% every 6 months or something. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so this is going to keep going higher, and that's going to keep being negative for the purchasing power of our dollar. So it's a really important thing to be aware of. And right now, I mean, we could look up articles for Canada on this too, but like in America and Canada and probably Europe and other places, credit card and auto loan delinquencies are rising. So when you run out of automatic money from stimulus checks and stocks and cryptos back in 2021, a lot of people maybe gave up on things and they had to pay their mortgage and their high interest rates. Your credit card got loaded up. Now, eventually, you can't even pay the credit card or you can't even pay your car payment because you're trying to scramble every month to
Yeah.
pay your debt. Now, that's not everyone listening. That's not me. That's not Mike. But there's a bunch of people in society that it's affecting, you
Yeah.
know? And there's been some job losses and different things that people have experienced as well. So this is all negative stuff, folks. And when we're looking at this stuff, it's not doom and gloom, and we're not trying to say that we're going to have a crash. But this stuff right now, we have inflation going up, which is not great because now they're probably going to lower rates at a later time now, right? We'd probably prefer that they lower rates sooner so that consumers can afford their credit card bills and their car payments and their mortgages more actually. But
Yeah.
if they were to lower the rates right now, inflation's already going up now. Imagine how much
Yeah.
it'll go up if they lower rates. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, they're raising debt to the value of the dollar. It's a double whammy, and it's really screwing over the people for the actions of the government. And I don't like that, but that's the situation we're in.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing, like one thing impacts another thing, and it just seems like a cycle and it's just cascading and debt like keeps going up. So when the government owes a lot of money and interest rates are high, they have to go print more money to pay for their debt. Then when they raise when they print more money, it devalues the dollar, which leads to inflation, and then it's just an ongoing cycle. And then like it's just the chart that Mike showed with the debt going up. You saw the different the it started this way, then it went like this, and now like like it's just kind of a
It's
preview
going, it's going, it's going
where
from a smooth airplane trajectory to a rocket ship now. Like it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
flying straight up
yeah,
now. And I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I know a lot of people that are in the money managing business, and you talk to people out of their clients who own homes and who have loans and stuff. They just keep taking on more loans over the years, and if your house
yeah,
goes up a little more, you take another loan and you spend it on stuff.
yeah,
And it's worked until the rates went up. And now that the rates went up, you have this ticking time bomb of all these mortgages and lines of credit and credit cards and these things that you could tolerate before. But
yeah,
now you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do here?
yeah.
And again, it's not everyone watching or anything, but there's a lot of
A
people in
lot of
Canada,
people.
America, and Europe that are in that situation.
Yeah, and the interest rates didn't go up slow. Like this was like probably record
Record.
interest rate hikes in a short period of time. And if you're already kind of barely getting by, any increase hurts. But when you're increasing as fast as they did, you can get in the hole real quick. So
And that's part of why we created this real wealth brand. And, our motto is live life well. It's not just about earning a lot of money to have fancy things. If you want to do some of that, that's okay. I
yeah,
have some nice guitars and people, whatever you want, that's cool. But, me and Mike really don't have any debt. We're just making money and we really don't have much debt. And I think that maybe this is a gut check for a lot of people that were taught rates will always be low forever and
yeah,
you can just have a bunch of debt obligations
yeah,
because you'll always be okay. That's really not true. And although maybe rates will come down again soon, now we've been kind of smacked on the wrist and taught that rates won't always be low. So I
reality
think
check.
that you want to create a good life balance so
Yeah,
that you don't end up in trouble during times like this where you're stressed out. And, we're not stressed out right now because
yeah,
we're not in that position.
yeah. And I do have debt, but there's good debt and bad debt. So I read
Yes.
Rich Dad Poor Dad like 20 years ago. A lot of people that are invested in real estate as well, and people in investing, like some debt is like, I guess I can go get a Lambo now if I want, but I will take on debt. When I have debt, then I have to pay that debt somehow. So maybe I would have to go back to my job to be able to afford the Lambo. And now that I'm back at my job, now I don't have time to actually get out and drive the Lambo, right? Whereas if you went and got a loan at, let's just for ease of numbers, at 5%, and then I went out and found an investment that pays 10%, that's a smart investment as long as you've done your risk analysis on that. Like now you're plus on that, and you get to use the interest that you paid on the loan to offset the income you've made as a tax advantage there. So there's a lot of cool strategies that you can kind of play around with and things like that. So we like to look back in history. We like to see patterns and trends and just see what's going on in the macro world, because having a better understanding of what does it mean when more money gets printed? What does it mean when interest rates go up? What impact does that have on stocks? What impact does that have on the price of bacon? Right? Like this all, and what, how big is the cheese bar that you're getting? Right?
Yeah.
It's good to know this stuff because not too long ago, I just thought, oh, wow, prices just go up here or there. I never really thought about like money the way I do now, in that if I left $10 in my bank account now, in 5 years, the $10 doesn't go as far as it did back then. I wouldn't be able to buy as much. And understanding inflation and the impact it all kind of ties into all, that trajectory of the debt that's going on in the US and interest rate. Yeah. So just
The
we
nice
wanted to
thing about
start
this
with that.
too, the nice
Yeah.
thing about this, Mike, is that like by following us here, not everyone's going to have the time or interest to follow this stuff, but we're doing it, and the
Yeah.
people we're following are doing it. Many of them are economists,
Yeah.
and even during the pandemic, I was telling people everyone's getting all these loans and these gains on their portfolios, and then they're borrowing from it to buy cars and renovate their house and go on fancy vacations, and that's cool until it's not. And when they raised rates, I already had that in mind. People took on more debt in a quick amount of time during the pandemic than ever before. We had
Yeah.
record low interest rates, and the banks were just handing out money to people. And I mean, Mike, I'm sure you're aware of this. People all around us were taking out lines of credit for hundreds of thousands of dollars and just blowing it on stuff. And,
Yeah.
to each their own. But when the rates go up, the chicken, everything comes home to roost.
Yeah.
And I don't wish that upon anyone, but I see it happening, and I'm saying to myself in 2021, what's going to happen if Ray Dalio is right and we go into stagflation and they raise the rates? Now we're here,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people in bad situations, and hopefully we can help guide people into some better situations going forward.
Yeah, so like Mikey said earlier, one of the reasons we wanted to create this channel was just to help take what we're learning and help kind of fast track people that want to learn this stuff. Obviously, money, lack of money could lead to stress, and when you have more stress, it affects your health, which can affect your relationships. So it's all kind of intertwined and interconnected. So we appreciate you tuning in. always forget this kind of reminder at the beginning. You know, if you like this stuff, make sure that you like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, and also we're just two dudes on the internet. Our disclaimer is what we share here, it's not financial advice. We take in a bunch of information. It gets all jumbled up in our head. Mikey and I talk, we talk with other investors, and then we make our own decision based on the information we take in. So we encourage you to do the same. If you have any questions, the comments are always there. We read them all. We respond to all of them. So just wanted to throw that in there. So
And I
let's
just
hop
wanted to
into,
quickly, I just
yeah,
wanted to quickly show what happened with Bitcoin. We showed how the markets went down a little bit. So
yeah,
just quickly to show the Bitcoin chart here and what it's doing. So earlier this week, if you follow my Invest Like Mike group, I posted a warning. Okay. And I posted the warning over here. So when the market was still up and we were in the 70s, where I put my black circle, I posted a warning. And this is something I go over in the training course. So this red candle here, it totally swallowed the green candle from the day before. Think about it like a Pac-Man video game. The red candle was bigger than the green one, like it's eaten the green candle. It's bigger. And that might not mean much to people, but to me, it meant something. And I said, if this candle closes that way, which it did, as you can see, I think we're going lower for at least a day or two. And now here we are, and we're falling.
yeah,
So that's again one of the benefits of following our content is not every prediction we make is going to be correct, but we have a pretty darn good track record in recent
yeah,
months. And look right now, we have a nice dip in Bitcoin that happened, and I warned people about it right here.
yeah,
So that's something to be aware of, that the chart analysis and the strategy comes into play. From the peak to where we are now, it dropped 7-8%, and it was
yeah,
actually down over 10% at one point down here. That's pretty meaningful. And
yeah,
I publicly posted that I went towards mostly cash on my options
yeah,
account there on the day that I posted that warning. And, I'm thankful for that. So I like to
yeah,
keep people up to speed with that, share it with Mike. He shares stuff with me. I'm following my favorite economists and influencers. I'm talking to money managers I'm friends with and lenders, and we're bringing this information together for you.
yeah. So like you said, I mean, it was a meaningful drop, you know, the 7% and then all the way to the bottom of the wick was 10%. It's a chunk, but also remember, like zoom out, understand where we just came from over the last couple weeks, over the last month, over the last couple months, and it's been a massive jump up. So just know your time frame. You know, is your time frame for investing? Are you like are you a day trader? Are you kind of a swing trader where you're kind of in and out like every so often? You know, like are you a holder of certain coins for a certain amount of months? And you got to understand, like, if you're very bullish over the next 6 to 12 months type of thing, do you want to get in and out every day? Like, do you stress over things going down 10% in one day? Just, it's important to understand what type of trader you are because that will impact your emotions. And when you see your portfolio go down 10% in a day, sometimes like we get people reaching out to us, oh, are we done? Are we in the bear market now? Like, oh my God, what do I do? I just got in and it feels like I got in at the top. But then if you had held it like with Solana, we had people reaching out on Solana, you know, like that chart's been going like this, like mostly up, but we got up to like well over 100. Then we had pullbacks down to like 80, which is that's 20% dip. And then we're like, well, we're still holding. Here's why we're holding.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll talk more about Solana today. Like it's 180-ish. Like, yeah. So yeah, lots. I'm gonna share my screen now. I just want to share some of the we started with some of the a bit of the not so good stuff, and now we're just gonna pop in here and share some of the reasons why we think Bitcoin have gone up a good amount. Give me a second
And
here.
again, like I just showed there on the chart, just in case anyone's listening and not watching, we went
Yeah,
up 90 or 100% on the Bitcoin chart, and now
yeah,
we fell up to 10%. That's not that big of a deal if you've been in it, like it's
that's
really
right.
not that bad.
And it plays into depending on when you've gotten in.
Yeah.
So if you've gotten in 3 weeks ago, you're up, you know, the 50 or 60%. versus if you just got in, you're kind of feeling the pain of the negative 10% type of thing. So I
Yeah.
want to share, we've been sharing this from the beginning of the Bitcoin ETF inflows. They continue to do amazing. So one of the reasons why we're ultra bullish on Bitcoin and cryptos right now is because there's a lot of money coming in. So these ETFs got launched. I don't know the exact day now, but it's been at least maybe a couple months now. It's back in January, I think.
January 10th.
Yeah. So this basically opened up the doors for a lot more money to come in. So if you see here, like, look at this, the Bitcoin ETFs, 11.96 billion flows since it launched, which is absolutely insane amounts of money coming in. And there's multiple different types of Bitcoin ETFs. So it's just constant. And if Mikey drew his lines on these charts, it's
Yeah.
more money coming in every day, and there's less Bitcoin available. So massive amounts of demand and not enough supply, right? So you just see it on the charts constantly, every single day. And some days, some of the ETFs are breaking records every day. Some of them are over half a billion in inflows with just one of the ETFs. So some of the biggest ones are BlackRock, Fidelity. You see grayscale here, down here, like the outflows. So there's outflows of there because their fees are high. So people are leaving the high fee ETFs and rolling them into the other ones. So that's part of it. But then there's all new money coming in from all of these different funds out there. So it's just up, up, up. Like, look at this. This is why, like, we continue to be like so bullish, because the faucet just got turned on. I think you used the analogy last week of it's gonna turn into a fire hose. More and
Yeah.
more people getting into this, more and more people see it going up, which means more and more people want it. When more and more people want it, they buy it. They buy it. It pushes the price up even more. So it's just unbelievable. ETF overview. So Grayscale is still the top, but they're selling more and more. People are getting out of it more and more every day because here, see, their fee is 1.5, whereas everybody else here is in the 0.2s. I think Van Eck, this company, actually just reduced theirs to 0 recently.
Yeah,
They
they
got
did.
massive inflows over the period of time. But look at that. 15.2 billion, 9 billion, 2.7 billion. Like, that's a lot of zeros there. That's a lot of money. And the tap just got turned on. People are just getting, they're asking their fund managers about it. So
Another thing to point out there, Mike, if you just scroll up a bit there again where you were, no, go down for the BlackRock info there. Grayscale is number one with 26 billion, but they've been around for years to build that. BlackRock has gotten half or more of that in 2 months.
yeah,
Like, that's insane, and they're
yeah.
going to be number one soon.
And when you compare this to the gold ETF, we've done that as well. The gold ETFs has been around for a long, long time. Like, I forget the percentage on where it is right now in relation. I don't know if it's 40% or what number, but we've gotten there in less than 2 months, right? So,
Yeah.
like it's unbelievable. So I love these analytics. These come from Dune Analytics. They do a whole bunch of analysis on here, and it's just amazing. Like, look at this chart. This looks like the U.S. debt chart, but it's just unbelievable. So we keep talking about this stuff because it's important to track flows of money. And when there's more flows, when there's more demand, it has to go up. And we're not just talking like a little bit more demand. It's way up here of the amount of people that want it. And then there's like this little small supply down here. So everybody's fighting for this little small supply, and there's only so much to go around. So in order for them to get a piece of that small supply, they have to be willing to pay a premium to entice these people to sell. And when they charge a premium, the price goes up. And it just it goes up as we've been seeing over the last couple months. So there's that. And then let me just share real quick here again. Then there's this that in previous years, we used to lead with this of like, hey, the Bitcoin halving's coming up, because this is a massive, massive catalyst in previous years. And I know Mikey shared before about patterns and trends, and every 4 years, this Bitcoin halving happens. So basically, the Bitcoin halving means it cuts in half. What cuts in half? The supply of new Bitcoin being available. So it goes from, is it 900? I forget, 900 or
Right now it's 900. In
900.
2020 it was 1800 and it dropped to 900. Now
Yeah.
we're going to go from 900 to 450 a day of new Bitcoins, and Larry Fink's going to buy all of them.
Yeah. So only 450 Bitcoin. And there's like 5,000, there's 10,000, whatever demand
Yeah.
per day. So the demand is continuing to go up. And in 39 days, the supply available even gets cut even more. So this has been a massive catalyst in previous years. And Mikey and I will do a video and just show what's been happening on the charts over these 4 year halving cycles. So
You know what?
usually, go.
I was talking to a gentleman here locally, and he's not into Bitcoin. He's older than us. And I was explaining to him the supply and demand thing, right? And I said to him, I go, look, this was a couple days ago. I go, look how much Bitcoin dropped in a quick amount of time today. I go, and then look how quickly it went back up. I
Yeah.
go, did you know there's only 900 Bitcoins available per day? And Larry Fink just bought 12,000. And he goes,
Think.
where did Larry Fink get those 12,000 if there's only 900? Because they scare the crap out of you several days in the past few weeks. People sell off and panic sell their Bitcoins, and then Larry Fink buys them because they're not available in the market. So they
And
got to
we're
scare.
seeing this on the chart. We're seeing this on that inflow chart that I just showed you of money coming in, and it's constantly record. So we know it's the ETFs. We can see it on chain, which is amazing.
But they don't have anything to purchase if there's nothing for sale. So if there's only 900 per day and they want to buy 12,000 today, they have to scare the crap out of you to sell yours, and then they'll buy them. And it's very manipulative, but that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that they're now at 4% overall of overall Bitcoin. These
Yeah,
ETFs all added up equal about 4% now. 4% in a couple months.
2 months.
That's a lot. It doesn't seem
Yeah.
like a lot, but it's only a couple months. And 4% of the Bitcoin value, it's a lot of money, as we showed on the Dune Analytics.
Now, I'll share my screen again here and we'll just quickly go over some of the other things. So we pointed out the negatives this week. We don't want to only show you the positives. So I told Mike, let's go over the bad stuff first today. But we got the good stuff too. Like we were at 2.4 trillion, I think, last week or the week before. Now we're at a
Billion.
2
Yeah.
or sorry, this is the inflow, sorry. But we're well over 2 trillion on the entire market for cryptos. And
Yeah.
like now we had weekly inflows and it's a record of 2.7 billion in a week. And so we're having a lot of money still pouring into general cryptos, even if Bitcoin had a little bit of a bad week.
Yeah.
And MicroStrategy announced this week they want to do a debt deal where people can basically loan MicroStrategy money at a fair rate, and they want to buy another probably 10 or 12,000 Bitcoins with it. So they're going to be
Yeah.
juicing the market again. And they just did this not too long ago,
And
right?
you
They're
see
doing it.
MicroStrategy and BlackRock, they're jockeying for like top position of amount owned of Bitcoin. They're fighting with each other. I think the Fink
Yeah.
will keep
So
overtaking.
we got to have a boxing match with the Fink and Michael Saylor here. Like right now, MicroStrategy is saying loan us more money because we're so damn bullish. Even though we own basically more Bitcoin than anyone else, we want more because it's going to go way, way higher in the
Yeah.
next year or two.
And when things like this normally happen, usually that's a bearish sign when a company goes and raises money. I think it usually adversely affects the stock price, not usually in a good way, but
But not here, not here.
no,
So normally they're actually creating more shares and selling people shares, and now you dilute
dilute.
the
Yes.
shares, right?
Yeah.
If you make a bunch of extra Michael Jordan rookie cards, the original rookie cards are less valuable. That's not what they're doing here. They're just saying, give us money and we'll pay you interest. That's all they're doing. So
Yeah.
it's not affecting the share dilution. And Coinbase announced they're doing the same thing. They want $1 billion of money lent to them at a rate, and so they won't dilute their shares. And then they're gonna, be able to invest that into other things, whether it's their company or maybe owning actual
Yeah.
cryptos in their portfolio, whatever they're gonna do with it. And just so you know, MicroStrategy and Coinbase, maybe in a year or two, they'll allow people to convert this debt into more shares and it'll dilute. But at that point, Bitcoin could be 200 grand and
Yeah.
they'll let it dilute a little bit. So there's a lot of positive things going on here. And then, again, I don't, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Biden fan. I'm very neutral for this stuff. But I am a Bitcoin fan. And Trump said this week that he's indicated he will be tolerant of cryptocurrency if elected. So, Joe Biden's not very tolerant. Trudeau has basically put stringencies on us where we can't even use certain websites and you can't even buy certain cryptos. And he talks negatively about them being super risky and don't own them. And Trump is now saying, if I get elected this year, and I mean, I don't care who wins, but it looks like he might win again. If he does, he's probably going to lower the rates very aggressively. He's probably going to spend money to make a good reputation for him coming back into
Yeah.
office. And he's going to be very tolerant of cryptocurrencies. That's all bullish for cryptos, lowering of rates.
Yeah.
I don't want them to raise the debt, but they will. And then he's going to leave cryptocurrencies alone. That's very good for
Yeah.
investors.
Yeah. And, you bring up a good point around kind of the political side. There's elections coming up. And
Yeah.
if you're against something, then you're alienating all the people that are already in it. So you don't get those votes. So Trump is now like some politicians are starting to incorporate a little bit of that talk. And he says tolerant. Like tolerant isn't like it's not like a super strong word. Like he's like, oh yeah, I love this.
He'll leave them
But
alone. He's just saying, I'll leave them
yeah,
alone. You do your
exactly. He
thing.
won't be, and anything can change once he gets in there. But you know what? This stuff has been around for a while. It's not going away. There's a lot of people in it. So if you could
And I
maybe,
want to mention too, like, I don't want people to be like, you're pro-Trump. I'm not pro-Trump or pro-Biden, but I want to
yeah,
be pro knowing what's going on. And
yeah,
since the pandemic and the recession and the high rates, people have been voting out the people who were the leaders during the pandemic. And they're saying, Italy changed their leader, and Canada looks like Trudeau's going to leave, and we're going to get a new leader too. And
yeah.
America might do the same thing and give Trump a chance again. And even if you hate the guy, you should be aware that he might be in power and what's he going to do and how is he going to affect the
Yeah,
markets.
and understand, he's not the only one, and I'm not like hardcore into politics either, and I don't support either one of those people, but support people that have similar beliefs and values and are offering things and are open-minded to the things that you're in. So I know that there's other politicians also as well that, are in favor of crypto. So, you don't have to vote for Trump or whoever your candidate is. Just vote in favor of politicians that support the things that you do. And, you know, who knows what happens from there. So before we pop into chatting about Solana, I want you just to bring up a MicroStrategy chart and just show how it's been performing over the last week or two. So we shared this before. So MicroStrategy is called a proxy. So it's a stock, and you can just buy this in your stock trading account. So before the ETFs came out, people were buying these proxies because it was easy to get into these. You just have a stock trading account, and you just buy it. So look at that. How many days is this? 56 days plus 313%. So Bitcoin has gone on a massive run, but this proxy has gone on even more of a crazy run. So let me read that again. 56 days. That's less than 2 months, 313%.
And
Massive.
I want to show people too that that lines up with the rally we had in Bitcoin that I've been pointing out. And in the same time that MicroStrategy went up 300%, Bitcoin only went up 91%.
Yeah.
So think about that. People are investing much more into MicroStrategy than actual Bitcoin.
Yeah. So the things that Mikey's showing on the charts here. So we mentioned this before. He's hosting a course coming up. We're doing one in Mexico at the beginning of May. What's the date of the other one? It's
So
an
I'm doing the weekend of April 6th for the online course. I bet you had a
okay.
couple more people sign up here.
Yeah,
And then the Mexico one is going to be May 4th weekend. So if you go to investlikeMike.com and you click on the store, you'll
yeah.
see options for both of them there.
Yeah, and yeah, if you come to Mexico, we get to hang. I'm going. We have a couple
Yeah.
other awesome people that are there. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna enjoy some tacos. We're gonna learn how to do all this technical analysis and understanding macro and yeah, even just like small things like that. We knew Bitcoin. We had a probable chance that Bitcoin was going to go up. Okay, what could go up when Bitcoin goes up? And I ended up playing MicroStrategy more. I actually don't own any Bitcoin, but I own a whole bunch of MicroStrategy. That one worked out, right? This is the benefit of having access to these videos, having access to us. And obviously, if you're taking the course, you get even closer access to us where you can kind of ask us questions throughout the course and after the course. So I just wanted to remind you guys
Yeah.
of that.
For sure. And if you come to Mexico, like, we'll be talking shop, we'll be talking about this stuff even when the course is done. And I've already told,
Oh,
we already
yeah.
have people that have signed up, and I told them, you're going to have full access to me for that whole weekend when we're doing the course. And
Yeah.
we're really going to end up talking about investing and strategies a lot.
Yeah, and it won't be like so the majority of it will be around like stocks, investing, cryptos, but there's other investments that we're going to be sharing as well, like outside of that. Like, there's tons of ways to make money. Like we don't have all our eggs in one basket. Anything can happen in any of these things. So, risk tolerance, risk allocation, and just uh, put your money in a couple different things. So
I
that's
mean, you're
been
going to
working
get
out really well
exposure
for
to us
us.
talking about the real estate stuff we do, and there'll be people there that we do real estate with. And also,
Yeah.
I don't, I don't say this in a way to brag or anything. The people that have made way more money than me, but my options account went up almost 500% since October. And
Yeah.
I'm going to be sharing in my course how I did that. And I have a very specific way I do it. And I'm
Yeah.
going to teach it to everyone so that hopefully we can all
Yeah.
benefit together.
Yeah. And if you like those numbers, like options is an advanced trading strategy. So you don't start with that. You don't just hear what Mikey just said and go buy MicroStrategy options because
No,
there's an art and a science to that. And you gotta do that the right way to do that because I know there's a way to lose money real quick in that. So you gotta do it right.
100%.
You gotta learn from
And,
people
and
that
I,
have done it.
I'm going to be warning people about the pitfalls. I'm not going to talk about it like it's easy, but then I'm
Yeah.
going to explain what my
Yeah.
strategy is.
And
And
you learn from our lessons learned. Our lessons learned cost us like we lost money in certain things that we've done in the past by learning from people that have already made those mistakes. You
yeah,
don't have to make them now. So yeah, so come join us in Mexico. It'll be cool to hang. So let's hop into Solana. So I went to bed last night. I checked how things were doing. I'm like, oh wow, some markets are down, but Solana's ripping. I woke up this morning, another big smile on my face because not only do I own Solana, when Solana runs, the ecosystem runs, meaning the things that run on that blockchain run even more than that. So if Solana goes up 10%, if you're in the right ones, like I'm in Jupiter and Pith, like and a couple other ones, they move 40 and 50% in one day. So what are we looking at here? This is Solana chart. Okay. Let me expand my screen here. 21 days, 3 weeks, Solana, 102%. That's insane.
crazy.
Insane. And like I said earlier, like we had some people in some of our groups reach out to us. We're like, oh, dude, like I got in at this time. Oh man, we pulled back to 80. Like if you scroll back even a little bit more, like look at that. Like that's a nice chart. Like you see some ups and downs though, right? Like it got to 126 and then it pulled back to 80-ish, right?
Me and Mike were buying in October when it was $20 to $30, folks. Like,
Yeah.
and we kept telling people, get in this thing, it's going to go well over 100, get in this thing. And when it would hit 60 or 70, people are like, I hope it drops so I can buy some. And I told people, I said, I don't think it's dropping. And then, it went up even more. So now we've gone up from like $20 to $200. That's 10x. And I want to point out something else to people here.
And
I
wait,
am
wait,
very
wait.
good
Before
at,
you do, go back a bit.
oh,
Yeah, you're going back to all-time highs?
I was going
on
to
this
show
one?
people how much it went up last time. Is
Yeah, yeah.
that okay?
Yeah. That's what I wanted you to do. I wanted to show
So
what all-time
if
highs were.
you might be saying, well, why would I buy it now? It's already gone from 20 bucks to 200. I already missed it. Here it was worth like down here,
20.
where are we?
Yeah.
It's just 20. Okay, the chart doesn't go back far enough, but you take my word on it. In the beginning of 2020, this was worth $1. Okay. And it went to $260. So it went up like 200x or more, and
Yeah.
it just kept going up. So although you can look here and see a dip that happened, and that might not seem comfortable, it went up so much first, and then it still went higher with the
Yeah.
general crypto cycle.
Yeah. And we say these numbers, we don't get in at the bottom, we don't get at the top. It's near impossible to it is impossible to be a perfect trader. You're never going to hit the you get in at $1 and you get out at 280. Like as Mikey said, like we were buying in and around 20ish. I think my first order, like during this recent upswing, I think I got at 1850. Did I buy my whole bag there? No. I bought some there and then I bought some as it went up. And I remember having conversations with Mikey. It's like, dude, like we're at $50. It just went up, 12% today.
Yeah,
It's so hard to buy more when that happens.
I
But you have
just
to
bought
zoom
more
out and
here.
you got to understand where you think it could go. And
Yeah,
thankfully, Mikey and I, like we were dollar cost averaging in along the way. And now we own like a big bag of this. And when it's look at all those green candles over the last couple weeks, right closer to the end that got us up to like 190-ish. Wow, we're at 193 right now?
yeah.
Oh wow, wow.
And I mean, like, we bought back here where I drew the arrow for
Oh my
$20,
God.
but like I added more along the way, and then I added more over here when it broke
Yeah,
out, and I added more over here when it broke out at
yeah,
80 something. And I even bought more here. Mike knows this. I told him like a week or two ago. I bought
yeah,
more here around 140. Now it's 190.
yeah. Yeah. And then on my end, like I have a pretty good bag. So I've actually, the fact that I got in so early, things went crazy up for me, which is good. But now my portfolio becomes 40% SOL, which as nice as it's going up, I like that. That's overextended in my opinion. So I've actually been selling out of some of SOL, which is the kind of the parent, like it's that's the ecosystem. I've been rolling some of those profits into some of the lower cap ones, like Pith and Jupiter. So Sol went up crazy, but those other ones went up even crazier. So I think Jupiter went up like 50% in like a day, or yeah, Pith went up a whole bunch. So these are some more strategies that we'll continue to share in these videos. We'll share them, at the course. Um, yeah, so it's wild stuff.
And
And
another
we talk
another thing
about
to mention,
narratives and like certain things are hot at certain times. Meme coins are hot. Solana's hot now. Ethereum. The all the stuff going on with that, and that's run a whole bunch. So it's wild stuff. It's wild stuff, and we're learning most of our stuff from videos that we watch. We're subscribed to different programs and subscriptions, and we take it in and we put it all together. And Mikey and I talk. We talk to a whole bunch of people, and then we're like, okay, based on that, we think this is probable that it will do that. So
the other benefit you get from following us, guys, I mean, if you've noticed it, like we've been recommending Near and Render for months now, and they're exploding.
yeah,
We've like Solana, before we even started the Real Wealth channel, me and Mike were promoting that like crazy. I was recommending it at $20. Okay. Mike said $18. And it's not that we took a lucky guess. There's research behind that, there's chart analysis behind
yeah,
it, there's metrics behind it.
yeah,
And the whole time I've been telling people, I said, I think it's going to go between 500 and $1,000 depending on how much they lower rates and how much money they spend. I can't pick a top, but at the time when it was 20 bucks, people thought I was nuts. A lot of people. Now
I
it's
still think you're
200. Don't
nuts.
you think maybe it's going to go 500 or 1,000 at least? Like we're in the
Yeah,
third inning of 9 innings of this baseball game right now. And
yeah,
we've
and
already
we haven't
reached,
even hit the all-time highs of it yet,
no,
right?
exactly.
And history shows that when certain things happen, things are more likely to happen. And we're having multiple things lining up, which is good. So, and this is life-changing money, people. I want you to understand this. When you're getting in on something early and you're letting it ride and you're taking profits along the way as we're going up. And we're going to share more about kind of our selling strategies. And one of our lessons learned from the past market is take money along the way, right? Because cryptos are volatile. They can go up fast, they can come down fast. And if you don't have a strategy to get out, you're just going to give away your profits. So, I've mentioned in previous videos, like I'm doubling down now. Like these next year and a half, there's a lot of things that we see that can lead the potential to go up even higher. So just wanted to share that.
And I think it's important to point out too, like you got to enjoy a little bit of your profits along the way. I don't encourage
Yeah.
people to overspend or take on bad debt, but like maybe you buy a guitar like the one behind me, or maybe
Yeah.
my investment partners said to me, "Hey, Mike, you want to go to the Scorpions concert in Las Vegas?" I said, "Sure,
Yeah.
let's do it." And
Yeah.
you kind of treat yourself along the way because it's not just about trying to get your account balance to be a certain number. You want to
Yeah.
be able to spend some of that money along the way to enjoy your life.
That's right. And that's a big thing. So don't borrow money to go enjoy life. Borrow money to make smart investments, take your returns and go enjoy life, right? So real wealth, live life well. And part of that is money to help you enjoy more life, right? When you have a lot of money, it allows you to have more options in your health. It allows you to travel more. It allows you to spend more time with your kids. It allows you to give back to causes you support. So, in our early talks about like creating this channel, part of it was like, let's kind of help people understand money, investing, what's important to you, and come together as a community to help each other, help support each other to enjoy more of all of that. That's like dream life. I love that. So I'm glad that we're along for the ride here. So before we finish up here, share real quick Tesla. That chart they has been pulling back a bunch as of late.
Yeah, so we've been seeing some doom and gloom recently, and if you've been following my posts, folks, in the Invest Like Mike group, I've been anti-Tesla for many months now. Now, if you're long-term minded, I know Mike owns some Tesla, and Kathy Wood owns a lot of Tesla, but if you're long-term minded, then eventually it'll
Yeah,
probably do well. Okay, I'll probably get back in too. But short term, we're in the middle of a recession, if you want to call it that. We're in hard times with high interest rates. Electric vehicles are generally still expensive. You can go get a used gas car for cheap if you need one, right? So on top of that, we have quality control issues, and batteries don't charge in Canada when it's cold, or Chicago when it's cold, and they don't get the range they're supposed to get. There's problems, and any new technology will figure those out. The iPad 1 sucked. The iPad 5 was great. So it's just the way it goes. And
yeah,
you'll see the headline, EV euphoria is dead. And a lot of car makers have actually canceled their plans to even make electric vehicles anymore. And so does this mean that Tesla is dead for the next 5 years? I don't think so. But short term, cryptos weren't looking so hot in 2022 either, and then they came
right.
back later.
Yeah,
But if you look into it, Wells Fargo downgraded Tesla, and Tesla's already fallen before the downgrade. So, this is not good stuff. And I've been warning people with my chart analysis that it's not good. You'll see on the screen, I have chart analysis that's already in place from many, many weeks ago. And in my group, I was posting to people here. I said, look, I go, we're bouncing in this range. My technical analysis is very sharp here. We're going to the bottom of the range. And man, did we go to the bottom of the range. And then
yeah,
even when it bounced up now, I went to the bottom of the range again. It might even fall out of this range.
yeah,
It doesn't have to stay in there forever. Like over here, Mike, if you look here, it was bouncing in a range. It
yeah,
popped up to the upside,
yeah,
right? Well, you can pop down to the downside.
yeah,
So, don't just assume that we're going to the top of the channel now
yeah,
because the sentiment is more negative. So I think, I'll be honest, I think we're going lower. And I mean, I hope Mike's shares go up long term, but he's nibbling. He's going to buy more shares later and
yeah.
he'll get a cheaper price later.
Yeah,
So,
and the thing
you
is,
know,
like, it's all timing. Like, you don't make money all the time and everything. So I got into Tesla at different times. I'm down on Tesla right now, but my time frame is a little longer. So
yeah.
you make your money by buying when things are low and on sale. Am I going to catch the bottom? No, but if
No.
I'm nibbling as it goes down and down and down at dollar cost averages, do I believe in Tesla as a company? I do. Do I think it's going to be a lot higher later? I think it's going to be a whole lot higher later. So again, it's not like even when Mikey and I were buying Solana at 20 bucks. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think the news articles were saying about Solana way back then? It was back when, the Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and everything was collapsing. There's all like negative, like, but
Not to mention it fell from 260 to $20. So people were like, why would you buy this? It just collapsed,
right, exactly.
right?
So sometimes you got to think counterintuitive. You got to think, well, why are these? Why is the news trashing this? Why is Jamie Dimon trash Bitcoin? Like sometimes there's ulterior motives to stuff, and again, you have to just take in all the information, put it all together in your head, talk to people, learn from people, and then you just make your own decision based on that.
And the other thing is too that like again by following with us, I mean like this analysis on your screen, I did this months ago. This is not something I just did today. This has been here statically for months. So
Yeah.
why have I been bearish on Tesla? Well, here's the rate hike bear trend from 2022 onwards. Tesla's been stuck under this darn line the whole time. Like, look, ding, 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 and it keeps getting rejected. That's not what Nvidia is doing. That's not what Bitcoin's doing. They're doing the equivalent of rallying up out of that trend, and
Yeah.
Tesla is getting stuck under that bear trend. So
Yeah.
this is something I've been sharing with people publicly for a long time. And even Mike, I said, if you want to buy some, I said, nibble, don't go all in because Tesla's in a bear trend. And so
Yeah.
he's nibbling and he'll keep getting cheaper prices.
Yeah. And who knows, a year or two from now, when things could potentially be a lot higher, we might be having a conversation similar to like we were talking about. We got into Solana at 20 and now it's the 200.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting into Tesla at
And
160-ish.
remember, Tesla's now invested into like the space launches. They're going to come out with shingles. They're going to come out with an 18-wheeler for semi trucks. They're going to come out with the Optimus robot. Like there's Neuralink coming. Like
They're
who
not just
knows?
cars.
Yeah, who
So
knows which ones
if
of
you
those will be
just
on the
hear
balance
about
sheet.
cars from Tesla, yeah, maybe the news isn't the best, but just they have a lot of other billion-dollar things that Elon has been working on. So that's it. Do you have anything else you wanted to share before we finished up?
I mean, the only thing I'm going to remind people is, specifically for what we went over today, that debt is going to keep going up for America. Okay. That debt went from 30 trillion to almost 35 trillion during a recession, a rate hike recession. That's stupid. And they're going to keep doing it. And the Bitcoin halving's not even done yet. Larry Fink and all those boys are going to keep buying. They just started. They're still
The
going.
faucet turns up from here. It just turned on.
The velocity is going to keep going up. I keep saying this. We are in the third inning of the baseball game, and there is 9 innings in the baseball game. So, stay tuned, stay vigilant, and we're going to be really, really keeping you up to date on this for the next year, year and a half.
Yeah. So reminder, like, subscribe, turn your notifications on so you get notified of new videos. So we're going to be doing videos more than once a week as well. Up until now, we just kind of been doing our little these recap videos. But I think with everything that's going on, I think it'd be very beneficial to toss more videos out there and share more. So we appreciate you guys. Got any questions, toss them in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Thanks,
See ya.
everyone.
Bye-bye.